Hello and welcome to Graduate Job Search. I'm Kelly Harper, the manager of our Career Center at Cincinnati State. And I first want to start off by just congratulating our graduates. We're so proud of the accomplishments you have done over the past couple years at Cincinnati State. Maybe for some of you for many years, you've been really trying to pursue the completion of a degree or certificate, and we're very proud of that accomplishment. Congratulations. So our session today is going to focus you all on the job search and trying to get ready for our graduates. So we're going to start from the very beginning and having you think like an employer, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in just a minute. Also, we're going to talk about some of the various tools that are needed as part of your search. We're also going to briefly touch base on interview preparation. And then, since you all are not able to do questions and answers in this session, you're more than welcome to always reach out to us for some further explanation. But again, these are going to just be very brief touches on these various topics. We can always get you connected up with other resources that will help you expand your knowledge and be prepared. So, at the very beginning, I said I want you to start thinking like an employer. And the reason I want you to do that is because it's going to focus your job search. Your number one priority is trying to help an employer understand why they would want to hire you. So what qualities do you have in terms of education, experience, skills, both technical and soft, and the potential for their organization? So when you are looking at this, it all begins with a job description. The employer is giving you some information about what they're looking for, the skills, the experience, all those different pieces that they really want. And the resume as part of this job search tool is really the piece that just gets you in the door. So in that initial piece, they're trying to say, does your job description that we've created, does it match up in your resume? And typically when an employer's looking at your resume, they're spending, maybe 30 to 60 seconds on it, and 60 seconds is a long time. So what they're trying to do is very quickly ascertain, do you meet the qualities that they're looking for? If you do, that's when they bring you into, okay, now we want to interview and find out a little bit more. So education is hugely important. Experience is very important. What kind of experiences do you have that are relevant to their needs? And technical skills, these are the skills that we're looking at in terms of the ability to do particular pieces of the job. I'll pick on accounting. If I don't know how to use Excel, understand debits and credits, understand some of the advanced applications, I'm not probably the candidate they're looking for. Also with soft skills, this is harder to qualify. So what in the job search and in the interview process, they're trying to better understand your soft skills. Are you able to work in teams? Are you able to use technology? Do you have strong communication skills? These are the soft skills that they are also looking for. And then overall, are you going to show potential? Are you the right candidate for this organization? Also through this process, it is a two-way street, especially the interview. So the tools that we're talking about, it's going to give you some insight into whether or not these are the right organizations that you're applying to. It just gives you a lot of tools to think about. So let's talk about one of your first tools in the job search. It's putting your resume together. And again, I'm not going to go in depth into resumes. We've got some resources available on our website and or through individual appointments where we can help work on that. But really, it's a 1 to 2 page document that is giving a brief summary of your skills and experiences. And what they're trying to do is, again, does your resume align to what they're looking for in the job description? If it's not, they're going to throw your resume out. They're not going to look at it. You must kind of think of it in 3 piles, A, B, and C. A, everything matches up. We really are interested. These are candidates we want to interview. B, maybe. If we exhaust everything in the A category, maybe we'll come back to the B. And the C category is, I'm not even going to consider it. So again, you want to tweak and tailor this resume to the job you're applying for. You want to focus it on your education, your relevant experiences, your leadership. These are the things that they are looking for as they review resumes. Also part of the tools is a cover letter. And this can be done in a couple different ways. if you are soliciting, sending it to someone, you want to make sure that you've got this cover letter added to it. It could be part of your email that you're sending out. But what you're trying to do is give them a little bit more information. How did I connect with you? Or how did I find out about this opportunity? Also, what kind of skills do I have? In the second and third paragraph, you're trying to look at helping them see how your skills connect to their opportunities. And then typically there's a closing, and you're trying to, in the end, wrap up the sale, trying to get them to want to bring you in for an interview. Throughout all of this, any documents you're using in your job search, it needs to have a consistent brand look to it. So if you look at that bottom, that Simon Peterson, that is a brand and a look. It needs to be on your resume. It needs to be on your references. Everything needs to be consistent. Thank you letters should be part of your tools also. Anytime someone helps you with your job search or interviews you, you want to be sending a thank you. It can be typewritten or typed, handwritten, email, posted in the mail, any number of things, but you want to send it as soon as possible, and you want to help the reader just put you back in their mind and think about the skills you bring to the table. All right, another tool you need to have in your arsenal is LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you a quick video about LinkedIn. This is a resource and a networking tool. It helps you do research on companies, connect to people, alumni. I also encourage you to join the Cincinnati State's alumni page and group. That way you can stay abreast of things that are happening on campus that might be part of your career development down the road. And also connect with me, Kelly Harper. That way I'm able to see what great things you go on to do after graduation. So let's do this short little video and give you an overview of LinkedIn.
If you're watching this, chances are good you want to get a job. You want to go from student to rising star, and you want to avoid eating the same meal over and over and over again. Good news, you're in the right place. That's right, LinkedIn. It's not just for top executives, it's not just for old people with heavy briefcases. It's for you, and it's the perfect place for you to start your professional story. Say you want to get a job in New York City. You've never been there before, but that's okay because you have LinkedIn on your side. You start by creating your profile. You give it love because you know it's what recruiters are looking for day and night. It's your resume that never sleeps. It's your flashing neon sign that says, hire me, for the love of all that is good in this world, hire me. Then you start making connections. Alumni working in New York? Yes. Recruiters at top companies in New York? Yes. Your mom's best friend? Yes. You start imagining whose shoes you want to walk in. You think, wow, this is a lot of deep stuff to consider. You shake yourself out of it and start searching for jobs. Whoa, that's a lot of jobs for students. Time to get down to business. You start to tailor your profile. You start applying. You feel empowered, in control, like you should be CEO. That gives you an idea. You look up all the CEOs of all the companies you want to work at. You see one of them went to your university. Then it hits you. You see a clear path from campus to career. You feel like you can see the future. You wonder if you're psychic. Should you start a hotline? No, back to plan A. You keep tailoring and connecting and applying, and before you know it, you start getting responses. First a few, then more, then an interview, and then you're hired. And that's when the real learning begins.
So that's a great resource to help you start building networks and connections and researching companies. On our Facebook page, I'm sorry, not on our Facebook page, but on our Career Center website page, we've got information on how to create accounts and other resources to help you get moving in the right direction. And again, you're always welcome to visit the Career Center or talk to one of the staff members about how to navigate LinkedIn if you're not sure. Also in your arsenal, have a tracking sheet. And what the tracking sheet allows you to do is really keep a handle and organization of your job search. So in here, you see a list of different bullets of things that you might want to consider. There are a couple templates that you can find on Microsoft and also one through the Muse. I like the Muse a little bit better. It gives you a little bit more to go on. But what you're using this for is, where did you apply? When did you apply? Let's say you've done 50 applications and no one is looking at you. Then we're looking at, where did you apply? How are you matching up, and trying to review resume, because at that point in time, it's a resume issue. Let's say you're getting mixed reviews. You're getting some interviews, but not getting the job. Well, then we need to focus our time and energy on interviewing. So this really just kind of helps you keep track of this whole process. Some other things to think about is networking. Many of the jobs that are out there come through these, closed doors in a sense, because, it's the unsure part of that network. But when you're networking, what you're trying to do is let people know you're job searching. You never know who you know that knows somebody somewhere. And you want to start asking, who do you know that you know? Things that you might want to even take advantage of is asking them for advice, scheduling informational interviews. Informational interviews are one of those big pieces of your arsenal that allow you to be able to talk to people and find out hiring processes. What are they really looking for? How should you tweak your resume? It gives you a chance to really hear from the source what's going on. You can also use those folks to ask for job referrals and also start thinking about your job references and getting LinkedIn recommendations. So networking is a huge piece. I did not include this, but I feel like we probably should talk a little bit about this, is references. That's another page that you're going to want to have as part of this. And when you're doing that, you want to make sure you are asking people prior to putting their name on that list. So if we're looking at the page, you're typically using that same brand piece that you're using across all your other documents, but you are then giving the names of people that are going to vouch for you. So again, you want to give them a heads up. You want them to see your resume. You want to let them know what you're applying for. It gets them more prepared to be able to talk about you as a good candidate. So on that reference sheet, you're typically going to have their name, their title, maybe how they're connected to you, past supervisor, volunteer coordinator, something along those lines, however you've met them, their phone and their email. And that's what you need to have on that. In terms of job source leads, there are a lot of different things out there. One that is open to you all is C-State Career Link. And what I would just encourage you to do is get with the people of the Career Center who have your resume approved into the system. And also just the different sections set up, that it's all set up so that you can apply directly to these positions. Another great resource is Ohio Means Jobs. This is a state developed website, and it's got huge capacities. It runs through Monster and pulls in a lot of different information about job opportunities. But it also has other resources that are available to you to help you do resumes, interviewing, you name it. There's so many different resources that are associated with this website. It's not just a job posting site. All right, let's talk a little bit about interview preparation. Majority of people spend their time in the resume world and then forget that they need to spend, if not more time, in the interview prep. So things to consider when you're going through your interviews. Make sure you are reviewing and researching the company, because again, this is a two-way street. You want to make sure that you understand what the company is all about. It helps you get prepared for the interview. It gives you a chance to see if this is a place you feel like you might fit. Practice interviewing. Cannot stress it enough. Practice interviewing, because it's going to help you with your confidence. You're going to feel less nervous. You're not going to be able to answer every question without getting stumbled on a few here and there. But if you are practicing and you're getting prepared, you're going to be much better equipped to answer the kind of questions that they're looking for. Again, think like an employer. They're trying to understand why you're the right candidate. So if we think about phases of an interview, there's the beginning, the tell me about yourself kind of questions. And this is where you want to really focus in on, how did you get here? What made you interested in this career field? What kind of experiences do you have? One of the tools you may want to look at on our website is information about elevator pitches, because that allows you to see how to kind of quickly pull that information together about who you are. Then the second phase, after the tell me about yourself questions, we get into the questions where we get into skill, behavioral-based interviewing. They're trying to better understand who you are as a candidate. After that, there's typically kind of a closing area. They may ask you to just kind of reiterate why you're the right candidate, and then they may ask for you to have some questions. And again, you always want to have questions prepared. So make sure you're reviewing the job description, you understand the skills and how your skills and abilities align. When they're asking behavioral-based questions, that number 4, the STAR, I typically use what's called the CAR context, just one step a little bit different. In both of these methods, you're trying to give them the situation or context of what you were doing, like what the situation was, what was going on. Then the next part, you're talking about the actions. What are the things, the task you did, and the actions you used to deal with the situation? And then the N, the R, the results. What ended up happening based on what you did? As you're doing this, continue to practice, review questions, be prepared to give solid examples. Like, an employer can't bring you in to do the job, so they're asking questions that are going to help them understand what kind of skills and abilities you have. Also, before you step into that interview mode, make sure you're appropriately dressed, that you've got clothes that are going to represent you well. Make sure you're getting that all prepared a day or two before you interview. Bring copies of your resume, notepad, pen, and typically in a Padfolio, because you don't know who has your resume and you've got copies to offer. You can also use that Padfolio to take down a few notes that you want to remind them about in the interview, about why you're the right candidate. And then for some of you, it's easier to be able to write out questions. So you may want to write out some of the questions as they're being asked, because it helps give you that time to take a breath, think about what they're asking, and then be able to formulate your answer. Always tie answers back to skills and accomplishments. That's what helps them see how you handle situations, the skills you have to be successful. One of the great resources on Ohio Means Jobs is the ability to do practice interviews, or basically mock interviews. You can go to this site and be able to access those. And they give you a lot of things. So the first part, under the Learn tab, you've got information about interviewing, information about resumes, a little bit of everything. And these are short recorded videos that break down into segments that make it pretty simple and easy for you to watch. The next part, under practice, is where you're able to then actually do a mock interview. And you'll see they've got some different entry level, top 10 questions. No matter where you are in the work world, you're able to do some interviewing. You can do just general interviews, or you can get very specific regarding your industry. So it'll give you a chance to really kind of look at some of the questions that might be given to you and give you some good solid strategies. All right, as you're interviewing, whether this be in person when we start getting back to the norm, or as we're going to see more and more the Zoom or webinar type interview, make sure you're making eye contact, that you're well dressed. You want to portray confidence. This is a job that you're interested in. And when you do, typically your body language and your eyes look a lot different than somebody who's not really interested in a position. Also, as you're doing this, you're marketing yourself and you're creating that brand and image of who you are. And then you're also gaining organizational knowledge. So these are, some key tips. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about dress. When you're dressing for an interview, the best thing to think about is where you are, what the organization is like, and you want to dress a step above. So let's just pick on, I think one of my all-time favorites that I think is still pretty traditional in their dress has been like a Western and Southern, or an insurance company, because of the image that they're trying to portray as business, successful business. They still are more suit and tie. So if you're going into that interview, you want to be in suit and tie. If you're going into something else where it's not that professional, then you want to do a step above. Typically, no jeans. You want to have khakis or dress pants, a nice shirt, blouse. You just want to be appropriate for the interview. Always overdress rather than underdress. Some tips for women and men: avoid excessive makeup and jewelry. Most of the time you want to be more conservative. Avoid anything that's going to be like just overwhelm in terms of jewelry or smells, because sometimes people are allergic to them. It causes issues and problems. You want to be conservative in the appearance. You want to stay away from some of the fun things that you wear out. This is a different look. Also, make sure you're comfortable in your clothes, shoes, they're the appropriate lengths. You just don't want to be too trendy in your overall appearance. And men, kind of some of the same things. You want to make sure you're looking and portraying yourself as the professional that you are. Some things to think about when you go to that interview is to have your leather portfolio, copies of your resume, and or a briefcase where you put all that information in and have it available. Always smile as part of this interview process, and make eye contact with people. It goes a long way. Also, make sure you're taking care of your hygiene before you walk in the door, staying away from smelling like candy, tobacco, or anything else. Make sure that your clothes are wrinkle-free. They don't have any tears or stains. Also be cognizant of tattoos and how those will be impacted in your industry. And then the outfit that you're going to wear, just make sure you're trying that on several days in advance, giving yourself time to be able to get new things if need be. These are just some resources that are out there. And then we've also been having some things periodically throughout the year with JCPenney suit-up events where you can get extremely discounted professional clothes. But, these are not all-inclusive. The only one where you would need to have some contact with a career center or a co-op staff member would be Dress for Success. And this is when we have to refer a student to services. And that service is right now only for women, but we are trying to work on other ways to get and have accommodations for male students. All right, that wraps up where we are. I know you all don't have the chance to ask any questions, but you're always welcome to reach out to the Career Center at careercenter@cincinnati-state.edu or by calling us at 513-569-4242, visiting our website, or following us on social media in Facebook and Instagram. Congratulations again, graduates. We're really proud of you and look forward to working with you in the Career Center. Thank you.